And joining us now, NBA draft expert Ryan Blake. And Ryan's been on the program before. And Ryan, thank you. We appreciate the time very much.
You got it. Now, I got a pocket knife, so if you need me to come back and help you guys back there in the tech room or something, I can do it.
Pocket knife works good. Yes, absolutely. A little shank here and there, no problem with that. Ryan, as you go into really the fun time of the year, I would think for you, as we're getting down to crunch time, NBA draft-wise, and I don't want to ask you to grade this draft at this point because I think we always end up doing that. But this draft, whereas last year they talked about how it was such a balanced draft and really not many guys standing out head and shoulders above the rest, is this one like that? Because this seems a little more top-heavy than drafts we've had in recent years.
It is a little top-heavy. I do think it's deep. I think, after the 60th pick, I think GMs are going to be calling agents trying to get guys into summer league and into, to try to get them on their team. I mean, what's interesting about this draft is we got a lot of bigs, we got a lot of variety, we got a lot of versatility. But I think what we have here, even though we have a lot of young players, I think now we see a lot of players that are playing in systems that really want to win. They have versatility, but, we got a lot of great guys in this group. And, even though we go into the second round, we're going to have guys that, really it's not the top or the best 60 players that get drafted because, you're going to, in the second round, you're going to have guys that are international guys to be picked and stored. So you're going to have guys that are going to make rosters and maybe have an impact that are not drafted.
It used to be maybe the first, second, third guys wouldn't work out for the fourth, fifth, and sixth teams that are picking there. I read yesterday Cameron Payne, a good player from Murray State, said he wouldn't work out for Milwaukee, who has the 17th pick. Are you seeing more of this, of guys in the middle that won't work out for some of the teams that they say Payne's around the 14th? He's going to get picked 14th. But is this a smart thing to do for Payne not to work out for a team like Milwaukee?
Well, a lot of it has to do with posturing because of the agents. Sometimes it works. A lot of times it doesn't. I mean, the GMs have seen this go go around a long time. And it's tough. I mean, do you want to pick a Robert Swift that you don't get to work out and so forth, and it's going to take 3 or 4 years? You got to get guys that you are assured that you want. We've had, like last year, Dante Exum from Australia, who basically didn't get to play a lot against big competition, just kind of shut it down. And he shut it down, didn't play, and just trained. And you lose a lot of game experience, development as well. But, with this, it can be, posturing. Sometimes it kind of nips you in the bud, and sometimes you might have, players that not necessarily will get drafted in the lottery, and drop a little bit, and then you might find a guy that just drops in your lap.
How much is it when you hear that Karl Towns may be a franchise changer? He may be the guy that is another Duncan, and then the next day you hear Okafor is more ready right now. He could come in and average 18 a game. Is this agent talk, or is this real talk that from people that know what's going on?
Well, I mean, you have two high-quality, versatile players. I mean, you take someone like a Towns, who at Kentucky played in that platoon system, had so many good players. He only averaged 20 minutes per game.
Yeah.
He averaged 10 points, 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, and he had to do it defensively. And here's a guy that can stretch defense. He can be that power forward and be more of an offensive type of player. And you have Okafor, who, has so much versatility as well. The way that he moves in the paint, the mid-range, the soft touch, the great footwork, the great passing from the high and low post, the size and the length. There's so many qualities that you like. But regardless of what you get, you want to have that franchise player. But if you have a player, a rookie, who can make that impact by All-Star break, you've done well. You're getting that development. You want that type of player. And none of these players are going to get on the floor as the first nor the fourth option. So these guys got to earn minutes defensively first.
Ryan, it seems like, we always see, occasionally a bust in the draft or an unheralded player come up in the draft. And it seems like maybe because of the way the media is now, we're more aware of these things. But 2 years ago, I remember we called a game in Cleveland where Anthony Bennett, the number 1 pick in the draft, didn't play a minute and was healthy. And Matthew Dellavedova, who went undrafted, played almost the entire game and looked spectacular. And, of course, last night he was huge. And then Wesley Matthews is a great example of a guy who went undrafted. So does it surprise you at times where, as thorough as this system is and as much, the resources that these teams have at their disposal as far as analyzing, prospects, that we have guys that slip through the cracks?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's not – basketball is not like tennis or golf where you can win, get to the next round. The GMs, the teams, they put a lot of work in, and there's a lot of great players. But, their ability sometimes and their success sometimes depends on the opinions of schmucks like myself. You look at like a Wesley Matthews or a Jimmy Butler type, even though they came from the same college. But, you look at someone like a Tim Frazier. We don't know how Tim Frazier's going to be. But there's development, and you have so much depth. And sometimes it's about opportunity. Sometimes it clicks. Sometimes it's just about getting in the great shape and again, maybe just the confidence and believing in yourself. Because all these players going 150 players deep are really, really good players. Now, again, a lot of times in the draft, you're picking on upside. Sometimes you just pick for, you can have that confidence in what we call guessability, and we use these ratios and advanced statistics and algorithms and all that stuff, but sometimes it just goes back to the eye test.
Now, Emmanuel, how do you pronounce his last name? Mudiay. Now, he chose to go to China to play, and had until he was injured, he was playing 19 a game. I imagine he would make the same decision again to go over to China rather than go to the D League or go to college. How do you look at him? How do they know? Because a lot of people think he might move up to the top 5 in the lottery. How does he look?
Well, Emmanuel Mudiay, he's originally from Congo, but was recruited. He lived in Texas, were recruited for SMU, decided to go and play in China. He's a solid-sized combo guard, really a point, 6'5". He attacks the rim. He's got this wiry strength, crafty handle, quickness, good board man for his size. He's got a great motor. But he hurt his ankle in China last December, so he only played around 9 games. And like some other players in the past, if they get hurt, they shut it down and they try to be sort of this mysterious person and posture. Well, what I liked about Emmanuel is that he stayed over there, and he ended up playing the last 2 playoff games. He's a guy that has a lot of talent, didn't get a lot of experience, but he has a huge, huge upside. Someone like Angelo Russell, is a guy that I think is, the top guard that actually could be, I've been saying this for a while, can be one of your top 3 picks. It can be, I know he's going to be one of your top 3 picks, but it can actually be your first, second, or third.
And he'll go ahead of Emmanuel, you think?
I think so. Again, Mudiay, listen, he's got a lot of talent, but, you don't have a lot of, you didn't get to see him a lot. And I think, he has concerns. He didn't shoot the ball extremely well from behind the arc. Did okay, but he only shot like 21% of all his shots from deep. He's a risky passer. He could be a work in process, or he could be like a Brandon Jennings. He comes in there and makes an immediate impact. There's so many good things that you like about him, but when you try to compare with D'Angelo Russell, here's a guy that, what he does between the ears, he's a physical big guard as well. He's a lefty. He runs the point. He sees plays well ahead of what's happening. You don't get those types of players that often. and that can be a game changer. He could be a Lillard type. He could be a John Wall. He could be sort of Jason Kidd type. He can be that guy that comes in right away and makes a name for that franchise.
Ryan, thanks for the time as always. We'll continue to follow your work at Hoops Highway, I believe. That's your Twitter address, right?
Absolutely.
All right, at Hoops Highway, Ryan Blake on the NBA Draft. Thanks. We appreciate it. All right, Ryan joining us here on Trailblazers Courtside. Draft coming up June 25th, Minnesota, of course, with pick number 1. We'll take a break.